So what we're doing today is we're looking at a book called Click and Grow Rich, which is a client of ours, Brett Fogle and Daniel Miller. And Brett and I were talking, and he asked for some feedback. We're actually just about to launch, doing a relaunch on Brett's book, Click and Grow Rich. But before we do that, we wanted to do a full funnel breakdown. He gave me all of his links, all of his pages. I've gone through it. I've asked him a ton of questions, and I said, I want to do it for you, but I always ask, I want to do this in conjunction with sharing it with those, in my community so they can learn from it as well. And of course, Brett gave me the permission to do that. So bam, here we are, and this is what we need to do. All right, hey everybody, welcome to our BSPU call. Rob Kosberg here with Bestseller Publishing, and I want to talk to you about publishing, promoting, and profiting with your best-selling book. And I have something that I do on occasion, and that is a little bit of an author book funnel hot seat. As most of you know, and I'm going to share a little bit of my funnel stuff just in comparison. As many of you know, I use my book, Publish, Promote, Profit, and some of my other books, workbooks, etc., all along with online marketing, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Google AdWords, etc., spending hundreds of thousands of dollars a year to attract clients. And that's how most of you came to me. Obviously, we love referrals, and I'd love to get as many of those as possible, but we are always using my books to get in front of an audience that doesn't know me. And of course, this is what attracts many times my clients to me because they want to do the same thing. So what we're doing today is we're looking at a book called Click and Grow Rich, which is a client of ours, Brett Fogle and Daniel Miller. And Brett and I were talking, and he asked for some feedback. We're actually just about to launch, doing a relaunch on Brett's book, Click and Grow Rich. But before we do that, we wanted to do a full funnel breakdown. He gave me all of his links, all of his pages. I've gone through it. I've asked him a ton of questions, and I said, I want to do it for you, but I always ask, I want to do this in conjunction with sharing it with those, in my community so they can learn from it as well. And of course, Brett gave me the permission to do that. So bam, here we are, and this is what we need to do. By the way, any questions that you have, go ahead and post those questions in the chat box, and I'll try to answer them as we go. And so, and Nikki, thank you for the book and the quick review. Love that. Okay, so let me tell you about this book, and let me tell you about this funnel. There's a couple of things. We're going to look at first Brett's stats, because Brett set me over his stats with the test that they ran. I think they spent about $19,000 in online traffic over a period of several months, which is no small test, right? That's a good size test. And got some results and actually, had some good things happen, but also, it's not working the way it should be. So that's why he asked me to give a breakdown. So here's the idea. The idea, just like with Publish, Promote, Profit, is to use a book initially to get people that are interested, in this particular case with Click and Grow Rich, people that are interested in making money online, right? Using the internet to make a full-time living or maybe a supplemental income, et cetera, but to start a business online. And so they wrote the book Click and Grow Rich as the front end to this. Now, from there, there's a number of upsells and downsells, right? Just like I teach with the audio version of the book, trainings, et cetera. And then ultimately, what we're trying to do with Click and Grow Rich is the same thing we're trying to do with Publish, Promote, Profit, is for somebody that has pulled out their credit card, put the digits in, and paid at least $7.95 for the shipping fee to get the book, that person, we want to offer a one-on-one strategy session, a one-on-one coaching call to see if there's a fit. And if that person might be, because of what they're looking to do, because of their position, because of their expertise, if they're a fit, in my case, to actually write a book, have that book become a bestseller, and then get on TV, radio, and media, which is what we can do. And of course, Brett's case, if that person is a fit, to join the coaching program and get more hands-on help And their coaching programs range from $2,000 to $25,000. And so that is something that needs to be sold on a consultative sales call. And ultimately, the point is getting that phone call with a very qualified person. And what makes that person very qualified is they're not just an email opt-in, they're actually a buyer, right? They're somebody that pulled out their credit card, spent at least $7.95. Okay. I'm going to go through each step in their funnel one by one so that I can give you some feedback so that Brett can learn, but also so that you can learn where there may be some issues and some challenges. Okay. Remembering that what's most important is the very end of the process, right? That's where the big sale is going to be made. And that's really what they're looking for. Okay. They're looking for that bigger sale to be made. So first thing that I always want to do is I always want to look at the statistics of the funnel first. Because before we look at the funnel, right, before I give my 2 cents about what may be right or what may be wrong within the funnel, we have to take a look and see what the stats say. Because look, if I hate the landing page, right, but the landing page is converting at 30, 40, 50%, then it doesn't matter how much I hate it. Don't change it because it's working, right? So the first thing we want to do is let's figure out what can we learn from the actual statistics from all the traffic that they sent. So this is the screenshot. They have $7,703.55 in gross sales. They have an average cart value of $24.85. Now, here's how that breaks down. Number one, they have 1,163 people that opted in. Now, for an opt-in, going back to the first page, it's somebody that gives all of this information: name, email address, telephone number, full address, city, state, zip code, and country. That's a lot of information. So they have 1,163 people that gave all of that information. Now, of those 1,163 people, 310 people actually purchased the book. That means they went to the second page after they gave all of this and then put their credit card information in, and their credit card actually went through and processed for $7.95. So there's a couple of things that we learned right off. First of all, 310 buyers from 8,105 actual unique visitors and 1,163 opt-ins, meaning that we're getting a 14% opt-in rate on the page, and we're getting about a 3.8% buyer rate. Now, if you don't know anything about, what a good opt-in page should look like from the standpoint of actual percentages, let me just tell you that that's not good. That's the first big problem that we see here. And let me just switch off from this for 1 second, and I'm going to share with you my funnel stats from basically the past year, okay? So these are my funnel stats for Publish, Promote, Profit from the last year. Now you can see that we have 80,000 unique visitors, 23,000 people opted in for an opt-in percentage of about 29%. Now that's not like all world fantastic, but that's really strong. And then we have about 8% of all people that come to the page actually buy the book, for a total of 6,482 people. We got some other buyers here, 976 and 109, because I have these sales in various other channels like YouTube, LinkedIn, digital, et cetera. But let's just talk about the physical book. Let's compare apples to apples. So the first thing we notice is that if we go back and compare it here, well, if they just, and again, mine is good to very good, maybe even excellent, but let's call it very good. If they were very good, then they would have an opt-in rate more than double what they're getting right now, okay? So the first thing we need to take a look at is, okay, the landing page, there's something wrong with the landing page because they're getting only 14 out of 100 people to actually give the information, and they need to be getting double that. They need to be getting minimum 25, 26, but really 28 to 31, 32, 33 is where they want to be. Now, if they did that just by itself, that would double the number of sales, right? If all we fixed was the landing page itself, we would double the number of sales. So let's go to the landing page. I've already gone through all of this. Let me tell you what I like. Let me tell you what I don't like. And again, if this were at 29 or 30%, I might give a couple little tiny tweaks, but in general, I'd say leave it. It's great. It's converting the way it should be. So we know it's not, so we know that there are some big problems. So number one, they're using proof, which I like, because this shows that people, are buying it, people are engaged with it. The only problem is if it's not running a lot right now, then you can see the most recent buys are coming from 6 days ago. So that doesn't always look good, right? When the last person that bought it was a week ago, somebody that looks at that actually may think, wow, this people aren't very interested in it, and that can actually do you more harm than good. So you would want to use something like proof. It's called proof. I think it's proof.io. We use it too. You would want to use something like proof if you're getting regular sales, right? Not if you're not, okay? You want to leave that off, and that'll save you some money. The structure of it is great. The structure of it is just like mine. It's just like Russell Brunson's. But there's several things right off that I think need to change. Let me tell you what number one is. Number one is the video itself. And we don't have time to watch the entire video, but you can go to clickandgrowrichbook.com/order and you can watch it. But the challenge that I see, and of course, Brett, this is for you, but this is for everybody, is the video itself has a couple of really big glaring challenges. And video is what is going to get these people to engage with you, right? So the first thing we have to do on video is we have to get them to engage with what the problem is, right? So, you want to tell someone right off. You don't want to assume that they know what Click and Grow Rich is, right? You want to tell them right off that, hey, if you're looking for this, if you're somebody who has wanted to make money online, if you're somebody that, has tried and tried and tried and hasn't been able to make money online, right? If you're poking the pain, you're making it clear who this is for, then you can say, hey, then this book is for you. So number one, you want to tell them right off what the problem is that you're going to solve. You want to get their attention quickly, and you want to let them know immediately, hey, this is either for you or it's not for you. You don't want to assume that just because of the title of the book, they know what it's about. So number one, it doesn't do a very good job at that. Number two, the video itself is only like 2 minutes long, but you never introduce yourself on the video. Like, you never tell us your name. You don't say that you're Brett Fogle, the author of Click and Grow Rich. You never say that. And I'm like, okay, well, I think we're all assuming that you're the author, but also, Brett, Brett has like an incredible pedigree, and you don't give us any credibility. Like, Brett built a $100 million business online, and Brett's built and sold 3 businesses online. You don't give us any credibility until almost the end of the video where you say that. No, you got to say that right from the beginning. So in the beginning, you poke the pain, you tell them, hey, if you're interested in this, then this is going to be for you, right? And then you say, hey, you want to let them know why they should listen to you. Hey, I'm Brett Fogle. I'm the best-selling author of Click and Grow Rich. And if you don't know me, I've built 3 businesses that we've sold, and I've built businesses that became the 250th fastest growing business on the Inc. 500 list, businesses that sold for over $100 million, and I did it all online. I know what I'm talking about. So you give them right out of the gate why they should listen to you and the credibility that needs to be there. The next thing, that's 2 things. Number 3, is you have amazing testimonials here. You got testimonial from Kevin Harrington. Further down the line, you have, testimonial from Les Brown, who's famous. You have, Frank McKinney, who I don't really know who that is, but, I watched the testimonial video and it's incredible. I mean, there's a part of the video where he basically says, how much you've helped him and how he sells these $17 million homes. And there he is in one of his homes that overlooks the Atlantic Ocean. It's spectacular. And you got Michael Gerber and Jack Canfield. And why are none of those people in this video? Like you should have, little snippets of social proof in the video, because this is the first thing they're going to look at. And even if they're scrolling down, the video is going to play up here in the top left. So you want to hit them. You want to hit them with amazing social proof. You want to hit them with who you are and why you're the person. And then you want to get into the book from there. And you can talk about how this book encapsulates, your 20 years of knowledge and everything that you've learned in selling 9-figure businesses that you built online. So the video itself needs to be reworked, I think, pretty majorly. That is a big, big sticking point. That's number 1. Number 2, I went through this and, geez, I've spent $1.5 million in online marketing of my own money just in the last roughly 2 years. So I know a little bit about online marketing. I looked at this and I was like, holy cow, what is all this? And I know it's a cool image and it encapsulates your whole kind of idea, but I think it more complicates the situation. Someone might look at that and feel like, I don't know what that is. But I think you need to simplify this. Maybe you use the image, maybe you don't use the image, but you don't make the image the major thing. You make the selling points the major thing. Inside, you will discover the exact formula that we use that created after started scaling and selling 3 previous businesses and perfecting the entire product. Like, you just tell them this is what you're going to get right out of the gate. And I know you have your own nomenclature in the MP5, MS2 process and all that, but I would be cautious about that because that may do more to confuse people that are just looking at a page than anything else, okay? Testimonial videos are great. I like that. I would probably, put somewhere along here Amazon reviews, because I know you got Amazon reviews for the book. So somewhere along the line, I'd have some Amazon reviews that show, hey, people are buying this thing and here's what they're saying about it on Amazon, et cetera. So you'd want some reviews. Again, these are great with Les Brown and Kevin Harrington, who's, a good friend of both of us, and then Michael Gerber. And of course, this is a similar process to what I use, which I really like. By the way, you have great copy points in here that you could, some of these really of the best points, how we made 1.4 million in extra sales using this, some of that can be copy that you use all the way up here, right? So you can take some of the best of it and use it all the way there. But the video is really key. All that's fine. The images are fine. Obviously, meet the authors, the Inc. 500, all that is fine. So everything down here at the bottom is good. By the way, you have great testimonials. I watched some of these other testimonials that you have, and you could fit 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 testimonials. Again, clips of them, 15 seconds, 20 seconds, while you're in between you really trying to sell. Remember, even though you're giving away a free book, you got to sell it hard, right? I mean, this is you getting somebody to take their credit card out and put the digits in to an unknown person, at least unknown to them. And so a lot has to be done. In fact, my video for Publish, Promote, Profit is like 9 minutes long. And I have, case studies and testimonials, and I'm just selling and selling and selling on that thing. You have to do the same thing. So the video, I think, is the number one problem that we have. And then I think as people begin scrolling, I think you lose them. Right? I think you got to talk about what they're going to get out of the book. And I think you have to I think you need to use some of those really cool bullet points that talk about, the money that you've made, the impact that you've made, the freedom lifestyle that you have because of it, et cetera, et cetera. That's going to set you apart. And people are going to get that, right? They're going to understand that immediately. They come here, they may not understand any of that. Now, let me just reiterate this. If this were 29% or 30%, I probably wouldn't have said as many negative things as I did. But the fact that it's 14% means we have some big problems on that page. And I'm telling you what I think those problems are. The first thing I would tackle is the video. The second thing I would tackle is right below the video. And I would probably change those 2 things radically and then start testing new traffic and see. We know that the structure works because I use the exact same type of structure and I get 29%. On my workbook, I use the same structure and I get 35%. So these are my workbook stats from the last year, which I don't really sell anymore, but you get the point, right? So it's not the structure that's a problem. It's what's within the structure that's the issue. Okay. So that's number one. I took a lot of time there because I think if you just fix that one thing, you're going to double your results right out of the gate. Okay. Now, number 2 is the second page itself is the first upsell. The very first upsell is this IMBA bundle, IMBA bundle. Now let's go back to the stats. And what we see with the stats is we have about a 6.95% take on the bundle itself, the first upsell. Now that's not terrible. Well, actually, it's pretty bad. You could be way, way higher than that. For example, I think there are 2 things. Number one, I think it's too expensive. It's $97. So you go right from $7.95 to $97. That's a big leap. My opinion is that what you should do is what I do. And what I do is my first upsell is the audiobook. I tell all my clients, your first upsell in your funnel should be the audio version of the book. Now I sell it for $47. I do that because it's not just the audio version that I sell, it's the audio plus it's 6 training videos that I put a really nice value on. And it's a lot of material that I give people for 47 bucks. But you can see I get a 17% take rate on that. So almost 1 out of, every 5 people that come to the page are not just giving me $7.95, but they're giving me an additional $47. By the way, that's why my average cart value is 37 bucks instead of an average cart value of $24. You change some of these things, your average cart value is going to maybe as much as double. So I would like you to lower that price. And I'd probably suggest that you put you make it the audio version of the book. What you have here with this IMBA bundle is you have 6 video training lessons that you're offering. You might want to say, do the audiobook plus these 6 video training lessons and offer it at 47 bucks. See what kind of take rate you get on it. Might be like blow away. And you might say, well, we don't want to offer it that low. And I understand that, but you do need to do something to fix this. 6.95% is too low. These people are already buyers. Their credit card's already in the machine. All they have to do is click a button and they're spending more money with you. So make it as easy on them as possible. Now, the other thing I don't like about this page, I like your content. I like what you have. Obviously, this is a very similar, similar breakdown as what I have with Publish, Promote, Profit. But here's what I don't like. You have to go below the fold to actually watch the video, and the video is small. I would suggest you make this content a little smaller so that the entire video fits above the fold. If you don't know what that means, that basically means that you don't have to scroll down to actually see the video. So this video should be larger and it should be above the fold. So that may just account for 1-2 percentage points, which isn't huge, but every bit counts, right? Especially when you're running a lot of traffic to it. So as far as structurally, I like everything here, except I'd make this a little smaller and I'd have this video larger and above the fold, okay? Everything else looks good. Now we go to the next, which is the upsell number 2, which upsell number 2 and the downsell are basically the same thing. In other words, upsell number 2 is the final upsell. And if they don't take that, then they're automatically redirected to, hey, you didn't take this, so try this. So I kind of lump those 2 things together. And basically those 2 things are amounting to just below a 2% take rate. Now for a $297 or $197 product, that's not bad. That's actually helping to bump up your average cart value quite a bit. So to give you an idea, with mine, mine is $297, or my downsell is $97 times 3. So you can see my take rate on it is 3.46%. So, 3.5 people out of 100 pay me an additional $297 or 3 payments of $97. And you can see that roughly 55% of the people take the $297 and 45% of the people take the downsell. So if I didn't have that downsell, then I would lose all of that, all of these, 45% of the people that are paying me $8,400 immediately and then an additional almost 10 grand, I'd lose all of that if I didn't have that downsell. So you do want to have a downsell. So I like what you have here. I like what you have here. And the percentages are not far off. But what I would say is that, you may want to consider, rather than making it a downsell, you may want to consider that you offer, like for $297, then you can do the same thing I did and say, hey, you didn't take it for $297. Hey, how about if we break it up into 3 payments of $97 and test that? Because for us, it basically doubled our number of sales. So you're getting 3 at the $297, which is great, and you're only getting 1 at the $197. Again, these are low numbers. We don't have a lot of traffic to it, so it's hard to say, if you double, tripled the amount of traffic. But just using these numbers, you might have 3 sales at 97 times 3 payments. I know that structure works really well. It works for me. So you might get 2 more people to come into the funnel if you did it instead of having a completely different downsell. Okay. So hopefully everyone understands the last upsell is $297, same as with me, but then when people don't take the 297, I say, hey, maybe the 297 was too much. How about if I offer the same thing, but I give you a chance to do it in 3 payments? And half the people do that. Like it doubles my number of sales. So I think if Brett did that, it would potentially double the number of his sales as well. The page itself is good. In fact, this is the page right here. And you can see you actually do on this page what I suggested you do on the other page. And that is your video is above the fold, right? It goes right into the video. So there's not a lot of text up here. It's basically here, watch this video. And this video must be doing a good job because again, your take rate is not bad. Maybe you could do a little bit better, but it's really not bad. And of course you're saying it's 1 payment of 297 and this structure is the exact same structure as we have, and it works really great. So no issues there with the structure. Okay. So again, I like the structure of all this. Big changes to the landing page. That's where I think you have to do the most work. I think you have to change the first offer. I think it needs to be a little less money, and I think you need to have the audio version of the book in there, okay? Now, with all that said, these are what some of the statistics look like, and some of you may be horrified by this, but this is what tests are. They spent about $19,000 in traffic over a period of, 8 months. They got back about $6,700, so they lost, $12,000 over that period of time, which, let's break it down monthly. That's about $1,500 a month or so. Now, here's the thing, though. Here's what we've not talked about yet. What we've not talked about yet is what I asked Brett to give me some details on. Now, after this offer, when this is done, right, the last step is you go to a thank you page. This is the magic right here, right? All we're really trying to do in this funnel, if you're a coach, consultant, service provider, expert, right? If you're selling something high ticket, all we're really trying to do is, as much as possible, break even, right? Spend $30 to get a customer that we make $30 on, and then all of our customers are free. They're high quality customers because they're people that actually bought, and now we can bring them from being a book customer to actually being a customer that actually buys our high ticket stuff. So the last page after the order gets confirmed is a video. And then of course, schedule your free bonus discovery call, and people click there to schedule. And then of course, some instructions on the email, whitelist the email, etc. So here are some of the statistics that I think are the most concerning of all of this. Number one, I asked, okay, how many people, remember, here are the statistics. We got 1,163 people opted in. And remember, the opt-in is no joke. I mean, that's all this information. That's a serious person. They're giving name, email, phone number, address, everything. That's a serious person. So we got 1,163 of those people, and 310 of them actually gave us their credit card. I mean, wow, that's a lot. Out of all of that, they only got 3 people to schedule a bonus call, a strategy session call. 3 out of 300 buyers, 3 out of 1,200 opt-ins, way off. So our numbers, out of every roughly 1,000 opt-ins, which gives us somewhere, 1,000 opt-ins will give us somewhere in the range of, well, let's look at the math here. 1,000 opt-ins will give us somewhere in the range of, 8% buyers overall, somewhere in the range of 1,500, 1,000 opt-ins for about 300 or so actual buyers. So, our buyer conversion rate is pretty high. Maybe it's about 250. But what's even more important to us, of those actual buyers, we're going to get on this many opt-ins somewhere in the range of 30 applications instead of 3 applications. So out of 1,163 opt-ins, we need to be converting way more of the people that get to this final page to an actual call, okay? We need 10 times the number. Now, here's the beautiful thing. They had 3 calls. That's it in this whole funnel. 2 of them showed up. 1 of those calls bought a $20,000 coaching program. So if you look at this math that I said is a little terrifying, right? It says they lost $12,000, but truth be told, they sold a $20,000 package. So they actually made $8 grand. Now it's not great, right? But it's not really a loss, because ultimately, $8 grand positive because of the sale. Now, Brett was telling me, well, we're not 100% sure if the sale is attributed to this traffic. The sale came in June, and it did come through this funnel, but I said, okay, well, you need to have your tracking right so you can attribute it right directly. But let's say that, 3 applications, and the applications clearly came from this process right here, and one of those applications actually closed. That's not enough data to really tell us we're going to close 1 out of 3. But here's the reality. We should be getting 30 out of this many opt-ins. So how do we do that? So there are 2 problems that I see. One is with the page and one is with the ongoing follow-up. So how are we getting with 300, 300 buyers of our book, we're going to get as many as 30 to 40 actual applications, actual phone calls for my author development coaches. How? Well, number one, this video that here, we call it a training. We say, hey, start your training now. And that training video is me, right, face to camera. Many of you have watched it. And I'm going through our whole publish promote process. So it's both educational and informational. But then at the end of it, there's a call to action. And it is a, hey, we would love to have a one-on-one call with you, a coaching call, to see if we can help you to get the same kind of results as all of my clients have, right? Because I show lots of different case studies and examples. And we get people right there on the spot, watch that training, and then schedule an application. So this video, and let's say you don't want to do a long one. Mine is like 45 minutes long. This video should do one thing and one thing only, and that's sell the call. That's it. Hey, it should be, hey, short version, right? Mine is a long 45-minute version. Short version. Hey, thanks so much for picking up your copy of Publish, Promote, Profit. Again, I'm Rob Kosberg with Bestseller Publishing. Look, this is what we do all day, every day. We have helped over 1,000 clients to get their book written, to get it launched to bestseller, to be on radio, TV, etc. And amazing results have come from that. So look, if you're interested in getting those kinds of results, hey, get a free coaching call scheduled with one of my author marketing coaches. And right below this video is a link. Just click that link, fill in the information, tell us what your goals are, and one of my author development coaches will get back in touch with you and give you a free call and help you to get on your way to getting these same results. Boom. Okay, that was off the cuff, right? But the truth be told, it's a minute. It's just you thanking them for getting the book and then selling the call, selling the call, selling the call. If you do that, this video doesn't sell the call at all. It's just kind of as a secondary thought. It's below the fold. It's, hey, more testimonials and stuff, which you should have used on page 1. And this should be the primary thing. The reason for this page, the number one reason, is to get them to book a call. So that's number one. If you do a good job there, you'll get more book calls. Number 2, I asked Brett this, and they haven't had an email autoresponder set up so that the people that haven't booked a call will eventually book a call. So what you have to do is you have to follow up with email. And we have a long follow-up series that gives case studies, that gives examples, and that every single one of them push back to this video and push back to scheduling a call with an author development coach, every single one of them. So we might get, of 100 people that hit this page, we might get, 10 of those people to fill out an application, which is great. But then we pick up another 10 more in the first week or so in the autoresponder sequence, right? Because we keep sending the autoresponder sequence so people will actually book the application and get started with us. So you have to use email and use whatever way that you're communicating with these people. The last thing, and this is a little bit maybe more technical, but if you're using paid traffic, then you know how to do this. And that is, you should have some type of targeting on Facebook for the people that went through your entire funnel, that hit this page, because you can pixel this page, and only target the people that hit this page, they're buyers, and basically have a video that says, hey, you haven't scheduled your strategy session call yet. Schedule your strategy session call by just clicking this link. It won't cost much at all. It'll be very, very inexpensive. It's a retargeting ad that is only going to the actual buyers of your book, okay? So what you need to do is you need to have like a multi-step process that takes people from, this funnel coming into it to actually get what you want. Just on these stats alone, we should have had 10 times as many calls. If you had 10 times as many calls, you might have had a six-figure payday from this funnel, even with all the kind of holes and warts that it has. And look, you've asked me, Brett, of course, to give you feedback on this, and obviously I'm being a little bit brutal. I'm like telling you everything that I see, but let's be honest. All of you that are watching this, they did a great job. I mean, this is a lot of work to do. For those of you that are intimidated by all of this, I want you to understand, if you have something high ticket to sell at the end, you don't need to have all of the myriad of upsells and downsells that I do. You could just go from book to audio book to book a phone call with me and sell them your coaching or your product or your service or whatever. There's lots of different ways to do it. It doesn't have to be complicated. Sometimes the more complicated it is, the more difficult it is. But the truth be told, this is really close. The biggest problem that I see is we didn't get these 300 buyers into an actual phone call. That's what it's about, because that's where you're selling. And obviously your team, Brett's team does a good job at it, but that's where you're selling the $2,000 to $20,000 thing. You had 2 actual phone calls and one of them produced the sale for 20 grand. Holy cow. Let's just get you more phone calls. Get the autoresponder sequence, retarget all the buyers and say, hey, you didn't book your phone call. Get this page in place where that video is nothing more than book a call. Thank you. I mean, I gave you the 1-minute script if you want to do that. It's a thank you. It's a look at all these great results. Here's what we do. And if you want this great result for yourself, book a call. It's free, and we'll help you if we can, give you guidance, give you coaching, no cost whatsoever. Click below. When somebody puts their credit card in and goes through this whole sequence, they're never going to be more excited about booking a call than that moment. So this needs to be done well, but the other pieces are important also. So, wow. Some people watch my videos and they're like, how do you talk so much? How do you talk so fast? Anyway, I've given you the full breakdown. I've given you everything I can. We start with the stats. We look for the problems and the holes, but ultimately, the biggest issue that I see, besides this opt-in rate and the minor things that I pointed out throughout, is that what we really want to do, we didn't do. We didn't take these 310 buyers with credit cards in their hand that they gave you. We didn't take those 310 and turn it into 15 calls, 20 calls, 30 calls. We only turned it into 3 calls. That means that there's a major follow-up problem. There's a major problem with this page, and there's some other things that you can do as well, but what I've given you is enough. This is where you need to start. All right. So this is my hot seat. For any of you that have a complete funnel like this, that, or you're wanting to build it out, I'm happy to do this. I don't like to do it every single week, of course, because I have a lot of other content I want to share, but I'm happy to do this for you. Obviously, this is in our wheelhouse, right? This is what we do. This is how you became a client of mine. If you are a client, this is how you got to know me. This is why, 15,000 of my books are sitting on people's desks somewhere that I'm still trying to get a hold of, right? There's one last thing, and then I'm going to open it up for any questions. I also asked Brett, okay, we didn't do a good job getting them to call us. Did you call them? And unfortunately, the answer was no. And so look, if you have 1,163 people that gave you all of this information and 310 of them actually gave you their credit card, call every one of them, right? Get pay an outsourcer to call, have a simple script, and let that call be, hey, did you, it could be a simple, hey, customer service call. Do we just want to make sure that you received your copy of Click and Grow Rich? You did. Fantastic. Great. Well, thanks so much for buying. Listen, have you had a chance to read it yet? Yeah, I read some of it or no. And you can just send them down a path to eventually at the end of that, hey, while we're on, I mean, sounds like you're excited about the book and would you like to have a free coaching call? No cost whatsoever. I'm happy to set that up with you. You can take somebody, we have taken an outbound phone call and turned it into a $45,000 sale. So at least what I would suggest, the way we can take advantage of what we have right now is we can take those 310 buyers and we can get somebody outbound calling and trying to set those people up in a one-on-one coaching call with a member of your team. So I've given you multiple ways to do it. Remember, the real goal here is to get this cart value up so that we can spend more money to get the real goal, which is we want to talk to a serious person to see if we can help them with whatever magic it is that we have. Okay? You guys are great. I hope this was helpful for you. I hope you learned a lot from it. I hope it didn't overwhelm you. That was not the goal of it. The goal was to show you what can be done. And I tell you, this funnel is a lot closer to working. It's even actually made money already. It's a lot closer to working than you might think. We just got to get those phone calls. Okay? You guys are great. Hey, thanks so much for watching this video. Every week, we're posting tons more content to help you to publish, promote, and profit. So go ahead and subscribe now to the channel and click the bell icon to be notified whenever new content is available. And if you're interested in my latest book, Publish, Promote, Profit, just go to publishpromoteprofit.com.